Welcome everyone who is listening to the wonderfulness that is Breanne Hull. Breanne, I'm so excited to have you here because you are a long time wild soul mover. When did you join the program virtually for the first time?
When did it first come out? Was it 2014?
Yeah, I baited it in 2013, but then 2014. You
Yeah,
did that summer? Was that your first round?
I think so.
I think it was too. I was thinking about this
It
before we went
was.
on.
It
And
was way back.
it's way back. And you've
Mm-hmm.
been to two workshops. You came to Vancouver in May of
Mm-hmm.
2017 and
Mm-hmm.
just this past August in Chicago in 2019.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm particularly excited. And one of the reasons I invited you is because you've had different experiences of wild soul movement. And one of the great things about it that I didn't initially know when I created it was that it's the type of thing that is not a one and done. It's the type of thing that people can revisit no matter what's going on in their life, whether it's an issue, whether it's an expansion, whatever. And there's always going to be some medicine there for them.
Yep. Yep. Cool thing about it is, so I think day to day, I was not really connected with the mantras in any way really, but especially not in the way that we learned it. And so in the first round, even though I had done Wild Soul Movement, I connected with them in that way. But then I just sort of got to continue to go deeper with them. And it was just sort of this positive snowball effect. After I left, I just started going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into them. And I look over my journal now from the first and the second times I went, and I'm just blown away.
I remember when you came to Chicago and you said, you're like, I have this journal from the last workshop that I actually haven't used for anything else. And as I was looking back, you said you're looking back at your wild dreaming and desire notes and you were like, everything I set out for happened.
Everything happened. And listen, I've done vision boards, I've done those things. I get it, the energy you put out, I get it. But this was a weekend, right? It was 48 hours, and the amount that I accomplished as far as visualization and realizing what needs to stay and what needs to go was just epic. And then, I didn't look at the journal until I was getting ready to go the next year. And I looked and I was like, oh my, everything I wanted to let go of was gone. Everything that I wanted to create, I had created. And not even just the baseline level I was hoping for, just above and beyond. So I was just so excited. And I was so excited to do it again. It was amazing.
I love hearing this. And, I personally, one of the things I've noticed that is a big difference, over 1,000 women have gone through the virtual program. I've had hundreds of women at live things in rooms with me over the years. It's the embodiment piece.
Yes.
It's not just mental, the purpose of a mantra is to be is to help with mindset and also the metaphysical, right? Reprogramming the subconscious mind and getting into a different vibration, but not in the bypassing law of attraction way, because the first part of Wild Soul Movement is surrender and release. We are getting up in there and looking at what's hard and what's challenging, letting things go. So I'm curious for you, because you have done a lot of other things and you're even a coach yourself. Why is the embodiment piece, the movement, why is that such a big part?
Well, for me specifically, it's part of what I do, right? So I work with women who struggle with overeating, emotional eating, food stuff, and body image stuff that results from that. And my approach is getting into your body, loving your body the way she is, and separating that from your relationship with food.
Yeah.
And so, I'm already bought into that anyway, but then with the work with you, so, you'd give us a mantra, ask what our relationship to it is. And I would just be like, oh yeah, write it out. I got this. I know how I relate to this. And then we would do the movement and my body would be like, no, it's this other thing. No, I'm calling you on that. That's not really how you feel about that. And so that piece is not present in this work anywhere else that I've found. And the way specifically that you do it is just so perfectly connected to the mantras and the theme that it's really easy, because it can be so hard for people to get into their bodies.
Yeah.
I'll have clients say I don't know what my body is telling me. And the way that you do it is just so just connected. It feels like you're like this, with the mantra.
Yeah.
Just enmeshed.
So sorry for anyone listening, not seeing the video, when she went feels like this, she interlocked her fingers.
Yeah. And then like moved them like a,
and then moved them like kind of a little snake, 70s disco dance move, however you want to think of it.
So it just felt so effortless, you know, on our part. I'm sure for you it was work, but for us, it felt effortless to just listen to my body say like, yep, that's your truth. Yep. You can trust yourself around that. Nope, you're kidding yourself on this one. This is not real. This is not what you're feeling.
I will say for anyone listening, it might have felt effortless to you since this is pretty related to what you do. For a lot of people, that does not feel effortless. For a lot of people, they have hella resistance to that. Right. Because it's a practice and because it's something they could return to. And there's something magical. I mean, in my own experience with Wild Soul Movement, of having a practice that over time cultivates my ability to fully feel my emotions, my senses, the sensations, and the difference between the two, right? Because emotions are different from feelings. Feelings are like the data, the sensual data coming from the body, and emotions have content. Yeah. And it sounds like what you were saying is it's the difference between intellectualizing what you think is going on and actually feeling into what's happening and what's real.
Yeah. And I just think the way that you do the movement makes it so much easier to get into my body than any other way I've ever attempted.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So you kind of already mentioned this, but I wonder, is there anything else? You know, because part of the purpose of sharing these stories is I'm the creator of the thing. It's easy for me to be like, this practice is amazing. And I mean, it came from my own practices and tools, and I use it all the time. I'm not out here like teaching something that I don't do regularly myself. But I know sometimes people are like, easy for you. And so hearing from people who've been through the experience is really valuable. And so as someone who's done other things, other workshops, like you said, vision boards, like movement practices, yoga, like whatever it is, any other distinctions between Wild Soul Movement and those things?
So many. So I think I love the way that it's split up into 4 parts. And I feel like the 4 focuses, the 4 mantras flow in a way that helped me to kind of gently get into going deep and then going really deep and then feeling like, okay, now I can process everything and tie it together. And, you know, I also think so for me, I'm a coach. That involves a lot of holding space for people. That involves a lot of like holding space for really intense emotions. And so I think when you are in any line of work, but that line of work, you need a place to just reconnect with yourself where you're not thinking about like all of the other people you're taking care of, all of the other things you've got going on. And I felt like that was such a solid container for that. Yeah. Like I felt like I really, really got to just tap into me. Especially when you're kind of a highly sensitive, empathetic person and your energy kind of gets meshed up with other people's energy, like their happiness is your happiness and there's that kind of that. I felt like your approach really separated me from all of that other energy. And I really just kind of got to be in mine and feel all of the great things and scary things about being in that place. And so I guess the easiest way to say it is it feels very intentional compared to other things that I've done. It flows better than other things that I've done. The getting into my body piece is completely different than anything I've ever done. The way that it's split up into the 4 parts that that just connects with nature so beautifully. Yeah. And so I just felt I got to feel myself sort of like experiencing the seasons in a weekend, like the seasons of myself. In like that short period of time. And so everything's different. That's the answer.
Well, because it really is a synthesis of a lot of things with focus on the movement, the mantras. So the body, the mind, the soul, the heart, the connection, letting things go, connecting to what you want. So thank you for sharing all of that. And that is a big part of my intention, you know, for anyone listening is for you to be in your own experience, especially for women, especially I'm not a mom and I don't have a desire for children. And I've had so many people reflect to me like, no, but you're our mom. And not in like, you know, not to conflate that with like actually being a mother, because birthing children and raising children, parenthood is different. what they mean is like, I'm holding space for people to go through their like death and rebirth cycles and things like that. And I'm holding you, so you do not have to completely hold yourself. And I've had so many friends, peers, colleagues come and share the same thing you said, like, oh, I hold space for so many people. It's so nice to have someone holding space for me. And to also be able to show up in a space where I don't have to do anything. Because that's one of my big boundaries for anyone listening, is that when you come into my space, I'm the space holder. You get to just receive.
Yeah.
You don't have to teach. You don't have to code. You're not there to support the other. People always connect and support and celebrate each other, but you don't have to offer advice to other people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not what you're there for.
Yeah. It's like permission to be so selfish. Like it almost feels naughty, you know?
But people say that though. They're like, is this okay? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you're also so wonderful at holding boundaries really firmly. And so you don't let that energy of letting us give to the situation or manage the situation. Like it's not.
Listen, I'm a recovering person who used to love to control things. So typically the people who show up love to control things. So the boundaries are important.
Yeah. And it just feels like such an exhale to be able just like, oh no, for real, she's got this.
Yeah.
For real, like be selfish.
So the last thing I want to ask you is, you know, a lot of the ways we describe and talk about Wild Soul Movement are intangible, but the tangibles, how are you different? What things in your life do you show up to differently? And also, how do you treat yourself differently because of this work?
Yes. So two things. One is just sort of this, you know, kind of idea of just getting stuff done. You just want to get things done. And I don't mean like we're there, you know, checking things off of to-do lists. I just mean that, you know, I have this idea of something that I want to create that maybe I had been thinking of before, and working with you just like completely solidified it in my body and everything. And seeing that actually come to fruition. I mean, I had this crazy idea in that May that we were in Vancouver. I had this idea. I lived in this little bitty condo downtown in a high rise. I was living like downtown city life. I was like, I really want to move into a big house and move my mom in with me. And I want to create this sense of community. And every logical thing in my brain and everyone around me was telling me it was a terrible idea. Like, how is this going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. And it was this little seed of an idea. And within a year, I had bought the house, had moved my mom in with me, have created this beautiful gathering space for my personal life, for my family, for my work. And it's exactly what I needed. And I honestly don't know if I would have followed through on it without that weekend, because the second thing I was going to mention is how much you teach us to trust ourselves and how much we focus on that. And so I had this vision of something I wanted to do, create, like make happen. And then I had this just knowing from you and from that experience that I could trust myself. And so I was like, you know what? I trust myself. And for some reason this needs to happen, and I'm going to make it happen. And girl, I bought a freaking house. Like,
this is a big ass deal.
It's a big deal. I left the place I had lived for 10 years. I'm like, how many people want to live with their mother? Like, I moved my mom in with me because I thought it would be really great for us. And it's been amazing. And I wanted to have this gathering place. And it's just so many beautiful experiences have happened here. And I mean, I could list 100 reasons why it was a terrible idea. And I just trusted myself. And so the tangibles are, you make shit happen. The stuff in the back of your mind that you know you want to accomplish, that you know you're meant to have and do and be, you do the things with a sense of trust in yourself and purpose. And like, I deserve this.
I appreciate that, because a big focus, you know, for me, you know, I share most of the intentions out loud, but one of the ones that that is most important to me is that people have the ability to feel fear and move forward anyway. Their trust, their faith in themselves outweighs any fear. And often that fear, just like you just described, is coming from the outside people going, you can't do that. That doesn't make sense. So like, we all have those. And whether it's personal people in our lives or just culture.
Yep.
societal programming and conditioning. And that's always from the beginning. That's been what Wild Soul Movement has been about.
Yes.
So I'm very excited. Anyone who was listening to this and wants to check out the details of either offering, which are the Wild Soul Movement weekend workshops that Breanne was referencing, you can go to wildsoulmovement.com/workshops. In 2019, I'm doing either 11 or 12. I'm still deciding on one final city. And all over the US, maybe one in Canada, 2 in Australia, and 1 in the UK. And then the newly updated and upgraded year-long virtual program that is called Power. You can find the details for that at wildsoulmovement.com/power. So Breanne, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for sharing your story. Obviously, I'm super proud of you. Always such a delight to have you in the space, whether it's digital or whether it's in real life. You're so bright and vibrant and loving, and it's, what's the word? Contagious. Like, your energy is friggin' contagious. So appreciate you so much. Thank you for sharing, and we'll see you later.
Love you. Bye.